We're going to speak about the expert group meeting of the Global Land Indicators Initiative today. And you represented UN Habitat at this meeting 2 weeks ago in The Hague. What was the purpose of this meeting? Why is UN Habitat involved?
The meeting was one of the series of consultations that UN Habitat and the Global Land Network have established about 2 years ago in partnership with the World Bank and the Millennium Challenge Corporation to seek to get more consensus, build harmonization around the land indicator work. So the first meeting took place in Naples last year, then the second one in April this year during the World Bank Land Conference. And this was the third meeting that took place to actually go down and identify selected indicators that can rally all partners or all actors working on land. And in that context, the post-2015 development agenda came to forth, and they tried to service that particular initiative.
Why is it important to push on developing global land indicators, and for whom? Who's gaining from this?
First, there's no kind of comparable data or information on land indicators. So different partners are going there trying to do different things, different methodologies. So it was felt that it's important to harmonize at least the way in which data are collected, the way in what are the core type of land indicators that all of us working in the land sector and other stakeholders can understand and make use of it. So it was important to actually get that one. Who will benefit? Everyone working on land or has some relationship, you and I, with land, will benefit in ensuring, for instance, that whatever tenure arrangements or security that you may have can be safeguarded. So that's the bottom line. And things also coming within the development agenda, the global development agenda, to be beneficial for countries, civil society, academia, development partners to rally around that type of issue.
I want to bring in a little bit other people that don't know too much about indicators. Or maybe you can give 1 or 2 sentences on why indicators are not just theoretical stuff. Where do they become very tangible for people that work on land, but the real people working on land, not the policy ones?
One of the key issues that you may know is in some countries the issue of land grabbing, which is a translation of insecurity of tenure. So ensuring that there is a adequate protection of rights of people who are using the land is so critical. So for them, it'd be very good to have a global standard or platform on which they will know that they can call upon to protect some of their legitimate or legal rights. So it's a far-reaching, could be conceptual, it might be perceived as so, but when it comes to development actions and agenda, it becomes very concrete and operational.
Now, the expert group in their meeting that we just spoke about proposed 4 land indicators for consideration by the member states and development actors in advance on the post-2015 development agenda. Perceived tenure security, secure land rights, equal rights for women, and legal recognition of a continuum of land rights. How did the group reach this agreement, and why exactly these indicators?
Now, why this one? First, we are building on some of the consensus that have been dealt with before. The legal dimension was in the Rio Plus 20 outcome document, so we build on that, and everyone knows that without any legal or governance structure or framework, it's very hard to enforce anything that we can come about. The tenure security dimension is really about the legitimacy, how people perceive. You might have all the regulatory framework, but if people are not feeling secure, it might not be that effective. So to balance the outcome with the type of processes and the legal framework that we have. So we build on those processes, and in getting to the consensus, we have some documents that we put on the table. We had a framework that we have been working on, MCC, the bank, and UN Habitat, with the support of the Global Land Network.
Just briefly, who are your targets for your advocacy?
So far, we try really to get a kind of consensus within land stakeholders who have been participating in this process. So that was one of the key things that we tried to achieve. Now, moving forward and looking into the post-2015 development agenda, for instance, the next move will be to ensure that member states who will ultimately make the decisions, and I'm talking about some who have a bigger stake, could be the United States, the European Union, Africa Group, or and the Group of 77 plus China. So some of these actors will be the next target to ensure that yes, there is a broad consensus that is emerging, and that they will be part of it.
Obviously, as usual, the case with meetings like this, not all the actors were part of the meeting. So there is complementary work that's been done somewhere else. How do you plan to incorporate their work into your proposal or the overall road ahead framework and to avoid duplication? How do you pull that together?
We have to reach out to other communities, development communities, beyond land community, for instance. So that's very important. We are aware of other processes that are ongoing. And we have been fortunate to be also involved in somehow in those processes. We also know that each organization that attended that meeting was somehow involved in other, land indicator development. So we try to reach out to them by sharing what came out of that, the EGM, and also trying to bring what is also emerging from those processes into this. Into what we are also proposing. More importantly, you will know that we try to keep the process open. The proposed indicators are just proposed indicators, and they may evolve, and that's why we are also reaching to the European Union to get feedback and ask those who attended the meeting to reach out to others who might be interested to provide inputs. So by December or so, we may come up with a set of indicators that might not be necessary the exact wording as initially stated, based on the input and insight that we will have received so far.
Final question here. You are also a member of the platform's Global Donor Working Group on Land. And what role can this group play, especially in advocacy, to support the inclusion of global land indicators in the post-2015 development group, especially the role of the donors?
For us, it's one of the key players. As I mentioned earlier, we're talking to the land community, but the donors ultimately have to, at times, look at the cost of, collecting or making that data available. And in that way, we are the last global donors meeting at the margin of the CFS. We presented the initiative, and in any global donors platform, we try to use that opportunity to rally the donors behind some of the things that they also feel will be important. So their views really matter, and their support is really to make sure that whatever is proposed will also be of use, of interest to them. So getting their view will be very important. And in terms of advocacy, many bilateral donors will be there in that decision moment coming next year. So by embarking them earlier on, so that they can interact with their partners either in New York or those who will be negotiating, so that they are well aware of what will be proposed in that particular area, will be very useful. So for donors to actually relay with their counterpart within the country and other partners as well, because when they reach out to other development partners, it adds more weight and reduce the time for negotiation. So for us, it's building this consensus as broadly as possible.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.